record. It's a very difficult year to give on Zoom. It would have been a lot easier to give it face-to-face. But daven to Hashem that He put the right words in my mouth and should be zoche to understand and pass it along. Because there's a lot of details in here. And we have Halacha, Kabbala mixed up in a way that it's extremely difficult to pull out. I mean, I read so many Sfarim on this Indian, it's scary that a lot of the Sfarim end up in tailgate. They basically cannot explain, what's the whole Indian of the Asara Rugi Malchus. And Bezos Hashem will explain, and not only will explain, but we will make shalom between Halacha, Gemara, Midrash, and Zohar Kodesh, Ari Kodesh, between Kabbalah, Drush, and Pshat. You're going to see it's a one avenue. Once we're going to finish, hold it stark, because this is, every string is finally freed, but like this, you understand the end, you can go back on the beginning. So, homework for Shabbos for Jeff, who's going to be in New York. That's going to be it. Let's start with the Psukim. I'm going to try to go slowly on the Psukim. No many questions on the thing. It's going to be a totally different share. I'm not going to give you Gematrias on the thing. I'm going to try. There's so many details that I'm going to try to remain extremely focused on the subject here. Okay. We know the story. Yosef was sent by his father to see the well-being of his brothers and the well-being of the flock, despite the fact that every day one of the brothers was going to serve Yaakov and was telling him, but he needed to send Yosef. He didn't do like Avram, like Halacha requires. A tzaddik that goes on the road needs to have with him two helpers. Why? Says Rashi, because in case one needs to go to the bathroom, there's always one with the tzaddik. This is how dangerous the roads are for the tzaddik. Because the evil spirits always attack at a time where he's the weaker. And when he's on the way, he's the weakest. But when there are two, they can appear, but not attack. Yosef arrives to his brothers. They see him from afar, and they decided to finish him up. That's it. Let's take the psukim from then. They threw him in the pit. Vayomer Yehuda. So they sat down really to brainstorm what to do with him. So Yehuda says to his brother, Ma betza kina harogei achinu, why should we kill our brother? V'chisinu es damo, and hide. I'm going to explain Pshat Pasha. And hide his blood. And cover his blood. Lechu v'nimkerenu la'ishmaelim. Let's go and sell it to the Arabs. V'yadenu al tehiboy. And our hand should not touch him. Remember these words. They're going to be extremely critical later. V'yadenu, I'll come back to this. V'yadenu al tehiboy. And we should not touch him. Why? Ki achinu besarenu hu. Because he's our brother, our flesh. Oh, now you wake up? And when you beat him up, you didn't wake up? But no question on the psukim. Vayishmu echav, his brothers listened to his advice. Vayavru anashim midyanim secharim. So merchants from Midian passed by. Remember those words. Vayimshechu, they pulled out Vayalu, and they raised as Yosef min haboyer, Yosef from the pit. Vayim keru. I'm going to keep that one too. As Yosef laishmaelim, and they sold Yosef to the Ishmaelim. The Esrim Kasef for 20 shkalim. Vayaviu as Yosef Mitzrayim, and Yosef went back to Mitzrayim. Arrived to Mitzrayim. Vayashav Reuven el Haboyer. Remember those words. Look what Reuven does. He was trying to save him, to return him to his father. So he returns to the pit, and there's no Yosef in the boyer. Vaikra begadav, and he was scared that they killed him, so he tore his cloth. And he said something that's understandable. Va'ana ana ani ba. You have all kind of explanations on this. Only the Kodesh gives us what he says. I explain the words. He says it's Rashi Tevos. El nekamois Hashem kel nekamois Afiyah. He was scared that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will avenge the blood of Yosef. So he gave them a remez. What have you done? HaKadosh Baruch Hu will avenge his blood. There's no such a thing. Look at Cain. Nobody can escape the din if you spill the blood of another Jew. So here we have before us the brothers that are going to commit a tremendous Isser. According to Halacha, they're going to sell a Jew. And one who sells a Jew, as it says in the Pasuk, V'goyenev ishu mecharoy, one who steals a Jew and sells him, V'nimtza beyado, and is found in his hand, mois yumas. He's chayav misa. So we have a cause, we have a punishment, but in the middle, we have something else. We have 10 great tzadikim that are going to suffer horrible death for something they haven't done. I understand the pasuk states that if you sell someone, you have misa. Yeah, the person that sold. Not the you want to take something instead of him. No, you can't do that. What did Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol do? What did Rabbi Akiva do? Was he part of the sale of Yosef? No. How can you substitute someone for someone else? Even if there's a din that the brothers are chayav misa. But are the brothers chayav misa? Are they liable to be punished? Have they committed any sin? The Zohar that speaks the most about the Asara Harugei Malchus is in Eicha, the Zohar Eicha. Don't want to go out and give you more details on why in Eicha and everything, because otherwise we're going to be short in time and we're not going to finish. There was an argument between the sages of Yerushalayim and the Chachamim of Babel. Who should carry more of the burden of crying for the Beis Hamikdash that was destroyed? And they were going back and forth. So Chachmei Yerushalayim said the Beis Hamikdash was by us, we see it, by us, he heard it. Answered the Chachmei Babel, we are sitting in the clothes of the Nachash. And there's not a day that he doesn't kill or he doesn't bite. And we see all the time the perversion of the deed. In other words, people are taken, people are dying, people are suffering without a reason, without a cause, without having committed any sin. Exactly like he calls them the Anshe Hechayim, the brave men. It doesn't translate so well, the brave men with the Anshe Chayim. Who are they? The 10 Shvatim. He said they did not commit any sin. We looked at the psukim, we tried to explain them. Pashtos, Yosef was sold, he didn't go by himself from Eretz Canaan to Mitzrayim like this, And last year we had the shir, how much he suffered, how much they beat him up, while carrying him, taking him down to Mitzrayim. It was not an easy trip. And says the Zohar there, therefore he hasn't been able to extract the din from them for so many years. But the Nachash came before Hashem for 800 years, telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is there one extra letter in the Torah? No. So you have a pasuk in the Torah stating, we just saw it. I want to stay with it with you because the foundation should be very strong, and so the end, and you can understand it in the middle. We said here, V'goynev ish umecharoi. Here is the pasuk in Koheles, Ve'isaftu anshe hechayim. And the brave man, in other words, we're talking their judgment was perverted. The fact that he extracted a din from Shamayim to kill 10 people instead of them, this is a perversion of the din. How can this happen in Shamayim? Give me a second, we're going to go right into that. That's the next step. Here, let's understand if there is a chet, if there is a sin, or there was no sin in the selling of Yosef HaTzadik. Vegoinev ish umecharoi, says the Satan, venimtza beyodoi mois yumas. If someone steals a Jew and sells him, and is found in his hand, he is put to death. Answers HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says the Zohar. Here it says, ish. It has to be over 20. If you stole someone else, no, it doesn't work. It has to be over 2. Ish is 20, means it clap toward the Shamayim. He has a din already. Is liable for his action. But in the pasuk, the second pasuk of the parasha, it says Yosef ben Shva Esre Shana. He was only 17. He was not a ish. Vehu Na'ar. He was a youngster. He was a teenager. He was not a ish, says Hashem. Come back, the Satan says, you know what? There is another pasuk which says, Ki matzei ish. If a person is found to be stealing another Jew, goinev nefesh. You see, here it doesn't say ish anymore. It says nefesh, a soul from his brothers, mi bnei Yisrael. Why is it repeated? We're not going here. We're not here for questioning. Veisamer boy, and he used him, umecharoi, and he sold him, umei saganav hahu. That ganav should die. At that point, HaKadosh Baruch Hu agreed with the Satan and gave him permission to go to Gan Eden and to take out the 10 neshamas of the Shvatim and bring them down to earth and kill them in horrible death, so they have kapara for selling their brother. You want to say, even if you want to say that indeed they have sinned. Yosef didn't fly from Eretz Canaan to Mitzrayim. Yes, he went through hardship. They threw him to the boiler. He was crying the whole day until his mother talked to him. And yes, it was tremendous hardship, tremendous anguish. You want to tell me that the sin? I'm still going to tell you the din is perverted. The brothers, for two reasons. First of all, when the brothers were having a hard time with Yosef, thinking he's the king of Mitzrayim, it says, Aval Ashemim Anachnu. When we say Tachnun every day, Elokeinu v'Elokei Avoseinu, we are not brazen. Where is the thing? Is Hashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazal? That's the Tachnun? No. That's not Tachnun. Tachnun says the Riyah Kodesh. Right before we start Hashamnu, Anachnu v'Avoseinu Chatanu. Admitting there that us and our fathers have sinned. This is the vidui. And then you expel, how did we sin? But the vidui per se, admitting to Hashem and gaining automatically kapara is on these words. Va'anachnu va'avoseinu chatan. So when they said, Aval Ashemim anachnu, but we are liable because we heard his anguish and his cries, and we did not act, we did not give a hand, we did not help him, that's a vidu. When Yaakov passed away in Parshas Vayechi, they can't tell him in the name of Yaakov that he said, Ana sana pesha achecha v'chatasam. Please forgive the sin of your brothers. Elder Rishonim says, where did Yaakov say that? Yaakov never said that. They were telling him basically, please forgive us. What did Yosef HaTzadik do? He forgave. You have here the perpetrator. You have here the one that was taken advantage of or harmed. And the deal. You go to Beis Din, you have someone that stole from his friend $100. Right before going to Beis Din, the gunner says, look, I cannot pay back. I don't have the money. But I beg you, forgive me. The guy says, I forgive you. They arrive before the Dayanim. The Dayanim says, why did you even come in? What's the din? There's no din anymore. Can the person take back his forgiveness? No. Mechila doesn't require a kinyan. The words of Mechila are sufficient. If there's no din down here, there's no din up there. So Yosef, so even in the worst case, we say that the sin, Yosef was forgave. So why do you go after them? That's one reason. Second reason is when Yosef revealed himself to his brothers, Rashi right there, what happened to them? They died out of shame. Why? Because before their eyes, they see that his dreams were real. Chaloim, says the Riyah Kodesh, equals 78. 3 times Yud Kei Vav Kei is coming from Yud Kei Vav Kei here, Yud Kei Vav Kei here, and Yud Kei Vav Kei in the back. Full das, they come from a Mekor Kodesh, from a source of holiness, and it was true. And now they realize their mistake. Then Neshama comes out. They endured there one death. When they died at the end of their life, second death. There you go. One for Mechiras Yosef, one for... So, and we know that even the Chataim, the Gemara Rosh Hashanah, Yitzayin, even the Chataim that the Yisurim cannot absolve, death absolve. What do you want on them? What do you want on them? They're free from any chet. Either from the side of the victim, or because they really died twice. Remember, this thing died twice. We're going to see it again. It's going to come up actually quite often after that. They died twice. They're potter from anything. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Satan comes to you with 2 psukim. On the first pasuk, you give him a Torah. It says Ish. And you reject his kitrog. On the second one, you give in. But you could have argued on that one too. Why didn't you? How can you permit? It says, when the Dayan sits in Beis Din, he has to feel that there's a sword under his neck and that the Gehinnom is open by his feet. Telling you what, if someone pervert the Din, what is the outcome that the Dayan, so nobody's going to want to be a Dayan. Don't worry, Hashem is going to be with them. But we see that it's a very, very stringent matter to pervert the din. How did the Kadosh Baruch Hu allow that the Beis Din Shel Maila, and here was the Kadosh Baruch Hu himself was part of it, enabled such a thing, which is a perversion, one of the worst perversion. We say, Hashiva Shofteinu Kebarishoina in Shmoina Esrei. Return our Dayanim. Shofteinu is our judges. Kebarishoina as the times before. Veyoyatseinu Kevatechila. And our advisors as before. Vehaser Mimenu Yagoin Va'anacha. And remove from us anguish. And Va'anacha is like when, you know, if someone is really tired of being beaten up and he goes, you know, gives up. What relationship between the beginning of the bracha and the back of the bracha? Chazal says in the Gemara, Tsares come to the world because perversion of the din. Yogain Va'anacha, Yisurim come on Am Yisrael Chalila only because perversion of the din. How did HaKadosh Baruch Hu allow the din to be perverted up there? If they're not mechuyev, they're not mechuyev. In Sanhedrin, the Mishnah Pehe Amud Beis, there's a machlokes between Tanakama and Rabbi Yehuda. So on the pasuk that we saw, I'm going to show it to you here so you're not lost. I know I'm going in a little bit in details here, but trust me, we're going to go after that to the bone marrow. Okay. It'd be a lot easier after that we understand that. On this pasuk, so on this pasuk, there's a machlokes. Tanakama says that he's liable of death as soon as he took him and he brought him into his reshus. Rabbi Yehuda says no. He has to steal him, bring him to his house, and use him even less than and use him. And they both agree on the fact that you don't need to use him the value of a pruta, which is the value which usually you can go to Beis Din for, even less than a pruta, which has zero value, is chayav misa. You remember I told you to pay attention to this word? V'yadenu al tehiboy. Now, let's review the pasuk under a different light after what we said. Yehuda tells his brothers, Lechu v'nimkerenu la'ishmaelim. Let us sell Yosef to the Arabs. V'yadenu al tehiboy. But be sure not to touch him, because then you're going to make a kinyan, and then you will become a thief. Ki achinu besareinu, because he's one of us. He's a Ben Yisrael. Vayishmeu echa, nobody touched him. Why? They did not want to make the kinyan and steal him. Who brought him up? Who took him? Look at the pasuk. The pasuk testifies. Vayavru anashim midyanim secharim. These merchant passed. Vayimshechu. It's them. Vayalu. It's them. Es Yosef minaber. It's them. Vayimkeru. It's them. Where are the Shvatim? Okay, they conspired. Fine. But the pasuk is very clear. We're talking halacha here. The goynev ish, you have to do physically an action to be chayav misa. We see the chokhmah of Yehuda that he foresaw the problem and he did not want to touch him. He did not want to have any physical part into what was going on. Why? In order to prevent the din of stealing a Jew. Now let's go back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we understand the Zohar very, very well. The din was perverted. No question. They were not chayav misa. I'm talking the Shvatim. So kol sheken not to pass it on to a substitute. However, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we don't understand. We never understand anyway what you do. But here we're asking a halacha question and we need to understand. And we don't understand here because the level of perversion of the din is almost taking innocent people and killing them. So to that extent, obviously the Torah is not going to leave us in the darkness and it's going to provide us, some light. The Zohar goes on to describe that the level of the Shvatim in the Gan Eden, all the lights of the Gan Eden were through the neshamas of the Shvatim. All the lights that you have in Gan Eden comes only, he called them the 10 pearls. the neshamas of these tzadikim, and how much they had to suffer again being taken away and brought back to this world and put back to death for a perversion of the deen. We understand the words of this lawyer. They're very clear. Let's move to the Midrash a second. The Midrash here brings down when Lupinus, I don't know which Caesar he is, Lupinus. Oh, you're gonna love the end. Promise you, you will love the end. You will jump out of joy. So Lupinus sends to Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, and to Rabbi, he was very close to them, and to Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol, that what's the deen of someone who steals a Jew? They told him, Mois Yumas, has to be put to death. So he's asking them, so what happened to the Shvatim that stole their brothers? How come they were not put to death? Is not the Torah always truthful? Where is the deen? Therefore, I will apply that deen and I will kill 10 of you. Because you are luminaries that there was never, the truth is, it was over an expansion of 52 years. They were not all together. The first one to be put to death was Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, the Nasi of the Bnei Israel, which was the Gilgul of Yehuda, because he comes from Yehuda. And Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol was the Gilgul of Yosef HaTzadik, and therefore he was so beautiful also. Like Yosef. So he told Rabbi Shimon Gamliel and Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, let me go up in Shamayim. Let me find out what's going on there, because I have the power to cancel the decree. If it's not from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I can cancel the decree. He goes up, he meets Malach Gabriel. Malach Gabriel told him with a serious face, I heard from behind the pargoid, behind the rideau. The thing you put on the windows. Okay.
Curtain.
Comment on dit un rideau, Miriam?
Curtain.
A curtain, thank you. Behind the curtain, that it's a gzera from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you must accept it. Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol came down and told them what happened, and that they have to accept. They started to make a simcha, eat, joy, sing, that they're gonna do Kiddush Hashem. Look at the Tanaim. Some people would go in their corner and cry and everything. Look at the atrocities they're gonna go through. Them, they only look at the final accomplishment, which is glorifying the name of Hashem. Not that if it's true, not this is the godless of this Tanaim Akdushin. On the other hand, when you see these godless, they're innocent. We go back to the halacha side. How can they be put to death? We don't understand already the Shvatim, because Yehuda tricked the way around it. And there's no way you can kill him. Then there's no way they're liable of death. The pasuk is very clear. You have vegana, means he did the kinyan of a Gana. He brought him to his rishus. Tanakam and Rabbi Yehuda, this is how they explain the Mishnah. In the Mishnah, this is how I explain the pasuk. The Ari HaKadosh on Mishlei explains the following. In other words, I'm going to embellish a bit these words because they'll be otherwise to try one understand. Don't look for a sin by the brothers. Don't look there. Look down below. When people, Bnei Israel, at the time of the first Beis Hamikdash, started to do Avodah Zarah down below, automatically they reinforced the Klippa. They diminished the power of the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah could not protect anymore the Neshamas in Olam Haba. And because Bnei Israel Arevim Ze Baze, we are all guarantor to one another, therefore the Shekhinah moved away. And then all the neshamas of the Gan Eden came to hold the doors against the Satan, but he kicked them open, and he went and grabbed the neshamas. In other words, now we started having a different light. The neshamas of the Asara Ruge Malchus or the Asara Shvatim were not taken because of selling Yosef. No, it's a different approach. They were taken because down below, people were of the Avodah Zarah. And because it was not 100% kosher the way they did it, someone had always a tzadikim or a korban. Someone had to be blamed and carry the burden on their shoulders. And Hashem decided that with this, we're going to wipe out even the stain, the far-fetched stain on the Shvatim from Mechiras Yosef. Wow, this is a novelty way. We have to put this in the words of the Pasuk. We have to approach. But I have a different problem. I have a very big problem, actually. How many were they at the gathering of selling Yosef Atzadik? How many were they? Binyamin was too young, was by his father. Yosef was the victim. Where was Reuven? He took off. 3. 12 minus 3 are 9. How do you find me Asara Ruge Malchus? Every Tana is a world. Every minute of the Torah enlightened the whole world. You want to tell me that we're not going to be considerate that it's 9 or 10? It's about with a koilel like a gematria. No, it doesn't work that way. If it's 9 already, the din was perverted. Now you want a second degree perversion, kill someone. But we said before on the name of the Ariyah Kodesh that the Gilgul of Yosef was Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol. That's why he was so beautiful. But Yosef was a victim. You want to punish the victim too? You got to pull your hair here. 1 second. We arrived to a level of perversion that not anymore befits the word perversion. It's crooked. And it doesn't befit Shamayim to do such a din. If it would happen on earth, even by the Goyim, everybody would be enraged. Kol sheken, if it had happened such a thing in a Beis Din, and kol sheken benoi shel kol sheken, that it could this happen in Shamayim. How is it possible? What has Yosef done wrong? He suffered be separated from his father. He suffered being beaten up by his brothers. He suffered the fear. If you see how in the Midrash is described, when he fell down in the boyer, he fell on the pile of snakes, venomous snakes and scorpions. And he was scared that one of them all of a sudden will be angry, buck, and bite him and kill him. And die alone. He's 17 years old, for goodness sake. He just lost his mother. And he's going to be put to death. The horrible way that Rabbi Shmuel Cohen Gadol was put to death. What should he deserve? He did everything right. He did everything right. He was my Viral Midoisa. I said I'm not going to gematrias, but if I was giving you 3 gematrias here, it would blow the skies open. He was my Viral Midoisa. Despite the hatred, the anguish, what he went through, he let go. He did not revenge. He did not want to revenge. Oh, you're going to tell me why was he so tough with his brothers? Because he was concerned that they have not understood that they have sinned, and they will leave this world without making tshuva. Out of concern for his brothers. That was Yosef HaTzadik. Nothing wrong, never something bad, no matter how much beating, 12 years in prison, anguish, by Potiphar, anguish, everything, nothing, no light. He's never going to go back to Eretz Canaan, never. Besides for the day he's going to bury his father. This is how much he gave up for his brothers, not to shame them. You want to tell me that the tzaddik that's going to hold with his father all the generations from the time they were born till Mashiach, Yaakov Yosef. Ele toldos Yaakov, who are the offspring of Yaakov, Yosef. The other Shvatim are not mentioned. We're not talking about the offspring, natural offspring. We're talking about the spiritual offspring, because Tiferes is Yaakov, is a little Yud, and Yosef is the continuing the Yud all the way down to the Yesod, making it a Vav. Vav Hey. And he's holding the Shechina. Yosef HaTzadik is considered the first husband of the Shechina. He's the one who raised it. The Shechina will turn it back on him. The Shechina is getting only through Yosef. Why did he send him to Shechem? Why the brothers were not in Shechem? How come they moved? There's so many questions. But Shechem equals 360. 360 is 5 times 72. I have to give you one. It's 5 times 72. 72 being chesed. There's only 5 chasadim in the das and 5 gvuros in the das. 5. And they all end up in the Yesod. That's why, remember I told you many times that the words that a person speaks out reveal the nature of what he is inside, and also if he's keeping his bris. Mila, word, and it's the Mila also. This tells you people sometimes have to stay away because their language reveals too much that it's hard to take. You know who that person is really. When a person says nivulpe, you guaranteed, of what he does behind the scene. Guaranteed. When a person subjects himself to lies, sheker, this is a bigger clip. I'd rather someone that tells me, that says a bad word than someone that says sheker, because it's double high. But this tells you the depth is corrupt inside. And he does things. It's not like he looks like a tzaddik and inside also, but only he's not very truthful. You find out a few times that he, is kind of lying. Lying reveals a lot more, but it's not for today. Going back here, turning the table on Shamayim, the whole thing is a sheker. They never deserved that. This is like those, you have a few big cases that happen in America. They couldn't find a culprit and they wanted to blame someone. Like Trump. They want to blame him. So they're going to go out of their ways through shkarim. And this tells you who are the people behind this. Let's go one level deeper. Now that we understood that, we're going to go one level deeper. The Rekanati was a Mekubal of the 1300. One of, I think, the Talmidim of, what was his name? Rabbi Avraham Abulafia. Rabbi Avraham Abulafia in Spain was the first one to really, we're talking about Rishonim here, no, not the first one, because he had the Roikeach also on the Ashkenaz side, but amongst the first one to really expose and reveal Kabbalah. All that came after until the Ariya Kodesh, so that's why the Kabbalah on the not Middle Eastern, is North African side is different than the Kabbalah of Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael was revealed by the Ariya Kodesh, and in the Talmidim of Avraham Abulafia, if you know his life, like the Ramchal, gave us all the Shalsheles, tremendous, and they don't differ. They differ a little bit in Kavanas. One takes it that way, but they both point to the same sphera, to the same attribute, but on a different aspect. That's all. So Kam says, he brings a pasuk. I don't know if
Can I interrupt?
I'd rather show you psukim in the words.
Can I interrupt? Say something?
Yeah.
It's his yard side tonight, Rav Avraham Abulafia.
No way.
Yeah.
Who's speaking now?
Me, your wife.
Wow. Can
So
you believe this? I love him so passionately. If you see his Talmidim, what they revealed, his words, what we got from him, it could go for another 600,000 years. So much Torah he gave us. Oh, I brought it. Unbelievable, Dashgacha practice, unbelievable. Rabbi Yosef Mikastilia, all the Shemus we know where they're at and everything only because of his Talmud. Everybody goes to him. He is the foundation. Venigla be'oznai, and it will be revealed in my ears, Hashem Tzevakos. When you see Hashem Tzevakos, Midas Adin is here. You have Midas Arachim, but you have Midas Adin. And this is not the Im Yechupar He'avain Hazeh, if that sin will be forgiven to you, Lachem, Ad Temusu, until you die. Explains Targum Yonason ben Uziel. So it speaks here, Hashem swears to the tribes, to the Shvatim, to the Shiftei Kah, if I will ever forgive that sin, until you will die. Says the Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, the biggest Talmud of Hillel HaZaken, the biggest Talmud. We're talking about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. We're talking about all the big Tanaim. Right, the third generation after Shmaya V'Avtalyon. Malachim. We're not talking about Tanaim. We're talking about Malachim here. He explains what he means ad temusun, until you die. Ad temusun misa tinyana, until you have a second death. Wow, we thought we won the war with the Shamayim already with our questions before. Comes the Rekanati and destroys everything we understood till now. Again, this pasuk promises a second death. Another pasuk he brings the Rekanati. Lo echeshe, I won't be quiet. Ki im shilamti veshilamti, unless I pay you and I pay you. I'll pay you with two deaths: your death and the death of the Asara Ruge Malchus. But till now, we have proven that there was no sin. So what's the pshat in this psukim? What are we talking about here? The Rekanati HaKadosh says, you have to know that the deen, like the Zohar before, was not, because it was not just a Tanarug Malchus. He brings down there that there was 80,000 Talmidim, Ushmoinim Alafim, 80,000 Talmidim from Yerushalayim. We see the tremendous loss. So it's not only 10, 80,000 Tanaim. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will avenge every drop of the blood. That can give us a little bit of consolation. That the day when Mashiach will come, he will be slaughtered like the lambs on Yom Kippur, the Sodom. For that only he deserves. For all the others, the Rav Shimshon Mostropoli, Hashem in Kemdamo, and all the others that died, the 6 million that died in the camps, and so forth, he's full of blood till he can't even breathe in it anymore. He's drowning himself. But he got one of our questions. He said, there's only 9, there's not 10. And on top of this, he brings a tremendous raya from the bracha of Moshe Rabbeinu, that Moshe Rabbeinu davened for Reuven that he should not suffer a second death. Yechi Reuven ve'al yames. If you leave, you're not going to die. So what he means, Yechi ve'al yames, he should not suffer a second death. So if he should not suffer a second death, we only have 9. So he's going to give 2 pshatim. He's going to say, and we're going to answer according to both of them. Number 1, it's because there was 2 extra deaths on Reuven, because he moved the bed of Yaakov from the tent of Bilhah and put it in the tent of his mother Leah, and mingling in this is a tremendous sin, Chayav Misa. So he said he only saved him from that death, but from the death of the Asara Ruge Malchus, he didn't save him. However, he says it doesn't work because Reuven didn't take part of it. In contrary, Reuven wanted La'atziloi, he wanted to save him and bring him to his father. So why would you kill him? Dari HaKadosh basically it says in the Zohar, and there are colors validated, but once you see it in both ways, usually like this, you can be assured that this is going to be the final answer. The Ari HaKodesh answer says, Reuven came out because he didn't take part. He went to the pit, and when he saw that his brother was not there, he thought he was dead. He tore his clothes. That shows you really inside the person that he really wanted to save his brother. So why would you punish him? And Yosef took his place. Because Yosef has a level of responsibility that he triggered the hatred of his brothers by telling them his dreams, by repeating what they were saying to his father, not inventing, not saying Lashon Hara like some translating the pasuk, Vayave Yosef. He just brought. He doesn't say Dibasa. Whatever they were saying, he was repeating to his father. So since he triggered, without him being the trigger, he has a responsibility, despite being a victim, to be punished with his brothers and suffer a second death through the. So says the Zohar there that there were such friends, Lupinus the Caesar and Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol and Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, he even learned Torah. He loved it. How did he turn into an enemy overnight? The Nachash inhabited him. The Nachash went into Lupinus. Once he got the right away, he went into him and he started directing him what to do. He had no more control, this Caesar. Not that we come here to give excuses about what he did. You will see the end. I tell you, you will rejoice and dance once you're going to know the end of the Asara Ruge Malchus. So, Yosef HaTzadik is taking the place, but we know also, on the other hand, that it's not right, because death can only be applied if someone did the chet, not if someone didn't do nothing. That was the Ari HaKodesh in Shara Psukim. Ari HaKodesh in Shara Mamare Razal on Shabbos Kuf Chav Ches Amud Beis say something mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. He says, do you know who are these 10 that died? These are the 10 neshamas. Yosef HaTzadik was supposed to be an Av and have 12 tribes. 12 Shvatim exactly like his father and be the fourth Av. But when, with the story with Zulecha was the wife of Potiphar. He had his zera coming out from under his nails. 10 drops came out. Explain the son of Reb Chaim Vital, and I want to give you those details because these details are vital to understand the end. Says Reb Shmuel Vital, she put a medal under Yosef HaTzadik, as the Midrash said, was always saying the Shem Membes, the Shem of 42 letters. He knew how to use it. Midrash said when his master was asking, he was tricking him always with Potiphar. He wanted to make him suffer. So he used to say, okay, give me water, hot water. He used to give him hot water. No, I want warm water. He said, I brought you warm water. He says, no, I want cold water. He said, it is cold water. He says, no, I want wine. That kind of wine. It is that kind of wine. Everything was changing. He says, are you a sorcerer? Are you something like this? He says, no. Whatever you want, you're getting from me. And that's when he realized that you can't play with Yosef, better give him everything, and he became extremely rich. So Zuleika is after Yosef. She put a medal under his neck to raise his face. He never saw her. She was beautiful, and he never raised his eyes to look at him, to look at her. But says Reb Shmuel Vital from the Ari HaKodesh, and I found the Ari HaKodesh, but since I've seen it first in Reb Shmuel Vital on his Agah, so I bring it in his name, that she put a piece of metal and he had to look at her. At that time, the 10 drops came out, and these are the 10 neshamas. If you realize, each one had a story. Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol could not understand Torah to a certain age. They were 7. He was losing everything. Rabbi Akiva, till 40, he was not even there. Each one has a story like this. No one was born, and these are the 10 neshamas. In other words, the Shvatim, as we explained, there was no sin and no reason to take them out of Gan Eden. However, because of them, Yosef HaTzadik didn't become, because if he was not sold, he would have not have the Nachash running after him all the time for 12 years. That was terrible. And he lost the opportunity to become a father, a forefather. And he lost the opportunity to have 12 tribes. These were tremendous neshamas that were in those drops. It was the neshamas of this Tanaim. Says the Ari HaKodesh, where Rabbi Akiva reached, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't reach. They may not be responsible for selling him. We call Mechiras Yosef because through that happened this. Therefore, they had to come down to this world to bring back up these neshamas, because they were born without male, female, so they're not complete. They didn't have a body. So they had to have a full body and come back up to Shammai. Says Reb Naftali Harris, I always call him the Ashkenaz Talmud of the Ari HaKodesh. Don't you think one instant that the Asara Ruge Malchus died, that Rabbi Akiva died, that Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol died, in the way they pulled out his the skin of his face? It was so beautiful just to keep it. At the time they were supposed to be put to death, HaKadosh Baruch Hu took them and took their enemies, Lupina Caesar and all his ministers that fomented that plan to kill the Tzadikim, and put them with the shape and change their shape in the shape of the Tanaim. And they are the ones that suffered the death that they wanted to apply to the Tanaim. Never we see from here, never the Shiftei Kah, the Asara Shvatim were put to death. Never were the Tanaim, which were Tzadikim. They were totally innocent, were put to death. But now you understand the din in Shamayim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He had enough with this Satan. For 800 years, you can't bother me. You really want it? It's your people that are going to die. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't say anything. Yes, on that side, we have a lot of questions. Here we answer Halacha Midrash, Gemara, everything is answered. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want, yes, that's the din in Shamayim. When you come and be mekatrek to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when there's nothing, you will suffer the din. Exactly like Eidim Zoymemim, fake Eidim that come to testify in Beis Din, and the Beis Din, came up to a verdict based on that testimony. Whatever the verdict is against the victim, those guys will suffer. If he was put to, if it was a verdict of death, they die. If it was a monetary one, whatever they wanted him to lose, they pay him. That's the only way. So the Satan here comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, brings a pasuk, far-fetched din. When the Zohar HaKadosh says Ivus Adin, it's the Ivus Adin from the Satan, not from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu foresaw, HaKadosh Baruch Hu love his children, love the Tanaim HaKadoshim. He loves the Asara, the Shiftei Kar. He planned it. Oh, you want it? Okay. Go into Lupinus. Make a Gzera, you Romi Harisha. Make a Gzera on my Tanaim HaKadoshim and see what's going to happen. The one that were killed were Lupinos and his ministers. This is the side of Asara Harugei Malchus. Boch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. Okay, I'm sure you have still some questions on the side. Don't worry, I had plenty more, and I said plenty more on this. But I think here we covered, you have a very direct line, very strong beginning, very strong end, and with this, you can shake off every question. It should be Aliyas Neshama for Avraham Abulafia, Zechusei Yagan Aleinu, that it should be a light for him, this, because he enlightened, despite the fact that in his dirt they were giving him such a hard time, that he's learning Kabbalah and he's revealing that he was misusing it, whatever. He foresaw and he was right. We would not be able to explain what we explained tonight if it was not for Avraham Abulafia and his Talmidim. If you see the Tzor HaMoyer, which is the father-in-law of the Beis Yosef who wrote the Shulchan Aruch, who came from Spain, who was a Talmid of the Talmid of the Talmid of Avraham Abulafia. And he says what we said. If you look in the Magid Mesharim, which is the Shechina that was learning, the Malach that was learning with the Beis Yosef, in Pashas Matois Maseh, they bring each one a little bit more, but I can give you a share with a million little details. But to me, if I didn't have that, I was lacking something. And this is the Torah of Avraham Abulafia, and we eternally grateful, and we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he should have Aliyah. And despite the little bit of understanding we have in his Torah, that he should enlighten us, the schus of his neshama should enlighten us, understanding more and more. Baruch Adonai Elohim, amen.